React Coding Challenge, the first one of the season. Yeah, remember you can watch it anytime at codery.com/live. So, what we got today here? Question number 1. So that's good, because what we got is the most fundamental question we can ever get about React. So we're expecting to create a component called welcome. So whenever we invoke it, let's say, that function should include a message, welcome to React. Yeah. I know that some of you may be thinking that this syntax is a bit weird, that you prefer the JavaScript one, right? Expect welcome, equal, whatever, yeah? But this is more professional. This is the way you test React applications. That's why, on top of learning React, you learn how to test React application, which is something vital in order to break into the industry, yeah? So this is, if anyone is interested, and I hope you are interested, this is called Jest. So Jest is the official framework to test React applications. So you will see the same pattern pretty much again and again. You have a test with a title, and then you invoke a component. You see, sometimes we talk about shallow, sometimes we talk about mount. We'll see the differences, and eventually we check something. Yeah. Also, as you may have noticed, and that's a very personal thing that I love to do, I tend to organize my tests according to the given, when, then pattern. So given, when, then, this is about TDD and BDD, business-driven development. Yeah, is the way you explain your colleagues what are the expectations. Given I got something, when I do take an action, then I expect something to happen. Yeah, that pattern is very popular. You may have heard about it also as the AAA, arrange, act, assert. So here, welcome. We got the function already in place that helps, right, to lose the virginity, if you want, about playing with React. So we got the function, and then we got a div. So we have to type a text inside of the div, right? So look at how simple this is. Welcome to React. That's it. Yeah. We don't have to put any quotes, as I saw somewhere. Yeah. No, we don't need that. Simply just type the text. This is HTML. Yeah. We agree on that. This is HTML. So just type the text on it, and that's pretty much it. So let's see if that works. After evaluating this, I'm running locally, so it's a bit slower. It's a bit slower. This is very slow. Yeah, okay. So after 2 minutes of waiting, you see that now it works. It's green. So it's very simple. Here we need the quotes because this is JavaScript. So we want to compare against a string, yeah, the quotes. But on the right-hand side, this is HTML-ish. So we don't need the quotes, yeah? Easy, right? So quick look to what you did here. Yeah, you see different strategies. Pelling, adding break lines are good. However, for Luigi, that wasn't necessary at all, yeah? For Gawa, it wasn't necessary. Helder, he made it a bit more complicated actually, because he put the curly brackets. That means when you put curly brackets, you can type JavaScript inside. Yeah, so that's why his solution is correct. Yeah, curly brackets, then JavaScript string. However, I hope Helder agrees that, you know, easy. Yeah, without brackets, without quotes. Yes, drop the text. Walter, you can see why he didn't care about elegance, yeah? So he got probably some penalties here. I hope you agree that Walter's solution, even though it's correct, is a bit harder to read, yeah? I'm not against displaying the text in multiple lines, like Pelin did, but you see, Pelin did is very elegant because the divs are well correctly indented, you see? Divs, and then inside of the div, one indentation to the right. However, with Walter, that was a bit more complicated. He also added a paragraph inside, which wasn't necessary. Yeah? One line for Davide, Carl, Suleiman, Wendy, yeah. Vivian. Did Vivian got any penalty here, guys? What?
Didn't say anything.
It didn't say anything. Really? Are you sure? Okay, fair enough. It should complain, right? Does anyone know why, regardless of whether technically speaking she got a penalty or not, why she should have got a penalty? Correct. Welcome should be on the right. Yes? Indented, because it belongs to the parent div element. Yeah, so, and also something interesting. Do you think Sule got any sort of penalty?
Yeah.
Why?
Semicolon.
Semicolon, correct. Sule, remember, this is a JavaScript function, yeah? When you have a line like a return, you should put a semicolon at the end, like Wendy did. Yeah? And so, yeah, pretty much the same thing for everybody. Here we got an interesting pattern. This is absolutely correct. If you want to move the HTML to a new line, you have to put parentheses. If you put parentheses on the right hand side of return, then you can move your HTML into a new line. This pattern is very interesting, and we'll see it again and again. And as we mentioned before, it didn't work for Florin, yes, just because of the quotes. Yeah, without the quotes, that's it. Cool. So let's should have submit the question before. So while I submit the question, let's have a look to question number 2. Here we start talking about inputs. Yes. So we have a input text displays email details with a default value. Yeah. So we have a component called text that is expected to have a value and a placeholder. Does anyone know what the placeholder is? Correct. It's the text you get when there is nothing on it. Yeah. Please enter your email. Please whatever. I'm sure some of you have experience. Sometimes you get the placeholder, and when you focus on the input, you type and you can change the placeholder. That's absolutely horrible. That means that company is using HTML from the 90s. Because in the 90s, we didn't have placeholders. That's a new thing. New means 10 years ago, right? Because of that, because we didn't have placeholders, we had to hack them around, put in divs with position absolute, like the overlay, something absolutely horrible. Yeah, don't join these companies. So, let's see what we got here. So, we're expecting to create an input with a couple of things. A value is, the text that comes with the input already, and a placeholder. So here we learn how to play with props, yeah? Which is a very fundamental aspect of React. Props are the attributes that are passed to the component. So to access this email, I'll have to do props.value. To access that value, I'll have to do props.placeholder. Yeah? Props.whatever the name of the property is. So let's put the input here. Input type what? Text, correct. Please note the selector. Yeah? So here, this is CSS syntax. So it's good to practice how to deal with CSS selector. Here what we say is, please find an input of type text, which is the classic input where you put your username, your email, not your password, because it will be in plain text. So type equals text. Text. And then value, how do we access the value? Say it again? Through the props. No. Curly brackets, because we want to access JavaScript. Yeah, props. Dot. Like that, yeah? And how do we access the placeholder? Ooh. Yeah? Correct. Anything else? Close it, yeah? Auto close it, which is the Codini logo, by the way. So I hope you will remember next time. So, will this work, yes or no?
It will, but you need to go to the next one.
Yeah, have you noticed this vertical line on the right hand side? That's a new thing, eh? We added that last week. So this is a way to help you with the length of the line. In the past, it was just finger in the air. You got the penalty and you had to deal with it. At least now, before submitting and before getting any sort of penalty, you can visually see that this line is very long. Yeah? The majority of the JavaScript standards say that the length of each line should be up to 80 characters. Here, we are a bit stricter, and we set the limit to 75. It's a way to make sure that your lines are very short. The shorter, the better, generally speaking, without sacrificing readability, of course. Anyway, because we got multiple attributes, here it's a piece of cake to move things around. So, can we do that? Easy peasy, right? And then, okay, you want to move that? Yeah, fair enough. I'm not against that. Yeah, you can put it on the right, you can put it there. Yeah, fair enough. Cool. And I hope you agree, this is way more readable. You don't need to keep scrolling horizontally to see the entire line. Yeah? Will this work, guys? Yep. Hopefully, right? Let's see if that works. Actually, I got another question for you. Do we need the wrapping div? Do you need that div at all? That div. Do we need it? Yes, no? So, no, that's not correct, Vivian. React needs a root element. So you need to have one single root element containing everything. But, look, if I do that, I think, with the correct indentation, of course, that should work. Even simpler, right? If I just want the div, we can simplify it like that. I think, I hope. So let's evaluate it, and then while it runs, let's see what you did. So, yeah, it didn't work for Pelin because she created 2 inputs, right? We were expecting to have only 1. Yeah, but it did work for Luigi, as you can see here. And for us, we don't know yet, still work in progress. Here we go, it works, yeah? All good? So we got green build, and then no elegance related issues. So this is probably the simplest way to solve the problem. So, what else you did here? Any penalty for Helder? Yes. Indentation, yeah, Helder, here, move it to the right. And I believe you also get a second penalty on the length of the line, as we saw a minute ago. So let's try to look after these things. Gawa, he didn't got that issue because he moved the placeholder to a new line. Yeah. And for Bilius, I believe he also got a penalty here because that value should be moved to the right. Generally speaking, if you want to move attributes across several lines, my suggestion is to have one attribute. Either you put everything in one line, if it's not too long, but if it goes beyond the boundaries of the acceptable line length, then have one attribute on each line. Yeah, one attribute means move type to a new line because all your attributes are aligned, yeah, on the same logical vertical margin. Let's see if any of you did that. So same problem for Walter, indentation, all good apart from that. Davide, and it didn't work for Carl because he hard-coded the values, you see, instead of taking them from the props. Make sense, Carl? Right. For Sule, again, indentation issues here. I'm not a big fan of these spaces, guys, by the way. This works fine in JavaScript, but I don't think this is any standard in HTML. Yeah, I've never seen that. So I suggest you not to have spaces surrounding the equal symbol in your HTML. Altogether, correct. Removing this space and that space. Yeah. All good for Wendy. Ah, nice, I like Vivian. You see? So she had one attribute per line. To me, that's my favorite approach, ignoring the fact that we shouldn't have the spaces. Yeah. But in terms of attribute setup, to me, this is the best one. Super readable. How many attributes do I have? 3, quick, easy. How many attributes do I have here? Okay, 3 as well. But, you know, it takes me a bit extra time to realize. Nico, perfect. Yeah, that's literally perfect. 3 attributes, 3 lines, no spaces, that's it. Yeah, and what else? So empty space for Lucia, which is unnecessary as well. And whoa, a bit complicated here for Bucket, right? Because she tried to, well, she created a new component, user input, but she created two inputs, right? We were expected to have only one.
So I've actually done it
Hmm?
with the user input, and then I've tried to use it somewhere else. That was a good question.
I didn't get the question, sorry.
So is the bit that's with user input, is that correct?
No, that's correct. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, even though it looks a bit over-engineered, but that's correct. You have a component, and the component renders the input. This is all good, all good. The problem is, the question was expecting you to create one input, and you put two. Yeah, input number one, input number two. If you read the instructions in here, what we said is we have two exercises actually. You see, on the first one, this is the data, and then we execute the exercise again, sending different data. Yeah? So in reality, we expect one input, not two. Cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it regarding that question. So let's have a look to the third one. Okay. What do we have here? Challenge result display a keep training message when the average result is below 50. So we have a component, challenge results, and we pass, what type of data are we passing to the component, guys? An array, correct. An array of what? Of numbers, that's correct. Array of numbers, yeah? So then we have to calculate the average. So if the average of these numbers, whatever they represent, is below 50, display a keep training message. If the average is above 50, whereas here clearly is, then display well done, yeah? Luckily, we got some code out of the box, yeah? I didn't remember that, and at the time I was reviewing your solutions, I said, how come everybody did literally the same thing? And this is because that code was offered for free, yeah? You won't get that advantage on the intermediate and especially on the expert, but on the beginner, we try to help out a bit, yeah? So this get average function, I believe based on that code, that you may, some of you may understand, some of you may not. We'll obviously talk about it in the future. It just checks if the score, if the average is above or below 50. And that's the problem, right? So here we have the condition, which obviously at the moment is pointless. So we have to change it. What do we need to do here? Well, let's invoke getAverage. So if getAverage is above, I'm not sure if it's above or above equal, something like that. Above equal, fair enough. Above equal, 50, display well done. Otherwise, display keep training. Does anyone know what's the name of this structure in JavaScript? Ternary operator, correct. This is the advanced child of if-else. Yeah? So the way it works is, if this condition is truthy, then return that message. Otherwise, else, colon, return that text. Yeah? Ternary operator. It tends to simplify your code a bit. Okay, so let's see if that any works. Did I miss anything, guys? Any colon, any semicolon, or anything like that? No? Yeah?
I don't know who invented that, but I think it's very lazy.
It's very lazy what?
Switching the if-else for convenience.
Lazy?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's have a look how this code would look like with an if-else. Yeah? With an if-else, and then you can decide which flavor do you prefer. The sweet one is this one, and the sour one is if getAverage greater than equal than 50, then return well done. Else return keep training. Yeah, these two approaches are equivalent. You can do either that. This is a test alarm, by the way, I forgot to say that. Every Thursday at 11:30 to 12, there is a test alarm just to make sure that it works, yeah? If it lasts for more than 20 seconds, we have to leave, like happened once, yeah? We're in the middle of a solution, and it was just about to set the answer, And this, I had to leave. No, but finish the test first. No, I mean, maybe a real fire, right? So first things first. Yeah, so this is a test alarm. I'll hope so. Yes, you see, it's gone already. Cool, brilliant. So yeah, you see, you can either do the sexy one-line approach or the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 alternative, yeah? I hope everybody agrees that this one is better because it's shorter. Don't get me wrong, the ternary operator is not always any better, right? If the condition is too complex, it may be hard to read. If, else if, else if, else if, else if, you know, you have a, you know, hell or a very complex nested structure, the classic if-else is much better in terms of readability. But if we just have a one condition, if-else, then, you know, generally speaking, the ternary is good.
Don't get me wrong, obviously that one is easier.
Yep.
But in the classic one, you can clearly see what are you doing. You can read it like a novel.
Yeah.
If this, then that.
Yeah, fair enough. It's about readability, yeah? Yeah, I understand the first time this structure is easier to read. But once you've seen that like 100 times, probably readability is the same. Anyway, so let's evaluate that and see if it works. Yep. Yep. Yep.
About the determinant always one and the else. Instead we give an else and then we can do else.
Yeah, with that's correct. With a ternary, we always need if and else. Always.
I try to know.
No, that's not valid. If you don't want to play with any else, you need to use a classic if. If something, do something. That's it. Yeah, that's a good point. And then it works. Yeah, which is a fantastic thing. No elegance issues. So that means that we are ready to go on the next question. Let me have a look to what you did. So question number, it was 3, right? I believe. Here you go. Question number 3. So, why it didn't work for Pelin? No, it's not because of the curly brackets.
No, forget the 50.
Correct. If get average. Do you know what is this function returning for Pelin in both cases? So the result is the same. What is it? Is it well done or is it keep training? Nothing, true, false. Okay, let's do something that you love massively. It's okay. Wait. We get. I hear a lot of noise. No, undefined, new, anti-array, anti-object, Donald Trump. Let's have a look. Let's do something, guys. One after the other. So it's going to be a bit hard to. Oh, what am I doing? It's going to be a bit hard to stop. Okay, so this is the algorithm, and my theory is returning always the same result, regardless of what the data is in this case. So what is that result? Who wants to start first? There are keep training. So we got. Wait a minute. Wait. So Walter said keep training. Who else? Bilius. The good value is well done. Something like that, yeah? Okay. You don't, no, please don't explain why. Don't explain why. Yes. Who else? Someone said. Yeah. I'll show you. Well done. Okay. No. Okay. So Bilius and Sule said well done. Who else? And so. Well done. 1 minute ago you were talking about random things, right? Like undefined. That's absolutely correct. So based on Pelin's approach, and this is why sometimes you learn a lot by reading code that doesn't work, yeah? So get average returns a number, yeah? A number that will be 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever. Is a number truthy or falsy? truthy. So that means this is truthy, and that will be returned. So that will return well done all the time. And that means that there are 2 points for the first solution that was bilious. So well done, bilious. And yeah, 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 correct. Yeah, that's the same thing.
No, because if you pass something, a function can return anything. I didn't say if you don't pass nothing to the function, obviously in this case, it's already the function asking for it.
Ricardo,
Yep.
you know, when you asked me the question, I said that it would return the first answer always.
Yeah, I didn't catch that then. Yeah, you need to speak louder. Sorry about that. Let me have a look to what Bilius did. He did something slightly different and completely valid, of course. Instead of invoking getAverage inline here, he first created a variable. Yeah, you see, he got the score, and then once he got the score, then he checked, is the score above 50 or not? Yeah, so it's interesting because it's equally valid. It's just a different approach. Apart from that, same for Walter. He also did the same thing. Yeah, he created a variable and then he checked MS the variable. Right, all good, guys. We got some more people here. Yeah, all good, all good. Yeah, that's pretty much the same thing for everybody else, I believe. Can anyone see any problem or anything exotic on bucket approach? Why bucket you are passing props to the getAverage function? It doesn't apply because look, the getAverage function is not expecting any argument. You can pass whatever you want. You can pass the Brexit deal here if you want, but it will be just ignored, right? Cool. So, yeah. And why this solution didn't work? Can anyone see? It's the other way around, right? It's greater or equal instead of equal greater. This is a what the structure is that for? Arrow functions, yeah. Yes, you see one character wrong. It's on the other way around. Cool. Yeah, so that's all about question number 3. Let's have a look to the number 4. What we got here? We said checkboxes only mark terms. Checkboxes only marks the terms input. Okay, so we have 2 checkboxes, and then the first one. So this is when you want to sign up in a platform. You got this checkbox at the bottom. Accept terms and conditions. Yeah, you have to tick it, and then do you want to receive news about whatever we do here? And you always untick it, yeah? So this is pretty much it. So we have 2 checkboxes. The first one, the terms and conditions, should be marked, and the second one should be blank, yeah, the news one. To create the checkboxes, you see input type checkbox. You know what that means? Dot terms. Correct. That checkbox will have a class name called terms, and the second checkbox will have another class name called news. Why we need something like that? Because otherwise it will be impossible to differentiate them. Yeah. So we got a div here. Do we need a wrapping div in this case? Do you remember on the first case I said, do we need a div? Yes. Why we need? Correct, because we have 2 checkboxes. Yeah. I would like to show you something a bit hardcore in a minute. But before going that far, and they may not even work to be honest, but let's follow the classic path to this problem. So input type checkbox, class name terms, I believe, and then I believe the value. Yeah, we need to set the value, if I'm correct. Value equals what? Props dot terms. Ooh, you see, just literally on the limit. Yeah. You don't have to risk that much. To me, even though that's still okay, it's not very good. Look, I don't see the end of the line, so I need to go left and right. If you're a Mac user, you may have noticed that when you go with 2 fingers to the left, sometimes the browser navigates back, which is the worst user experience in history of software programming. Yeah, you can disable that. I did that because that was the worst thing. So anyway, because I don't want to keep scrolling and risk my life, I will keep one attribute on each line. Yeah, look at how readable this is. Yeah, and because I have that, I'm going to copy that in a very sexy way. Look, that's it. Does anyone know how to do that? So in Visual Studio Code, remember, this is the editor of Visual Studio Code online. This is why JavaScript is so great. You can highlight something, and then, I don't know how you do that on Windows, but it's something like Shift Command. You don't have command in Windows, right? Shift, Control, I think it's Control Shift.
Shift, Alt, and arrow.
Correct, Shift, correct, that's correct. Shift, Alt, and arrow down. If you hold Shift, Alt, some shortcuts are very complicated. You need 25 fingers. Shift, Alt, and then down, you copy whatever is selected. And I can do that multiple times, of course. This is pretty sexy. Yeah? There's no need to highlight.
I think you can put the cursor.
No, I disagree. Yeah. That's okay. You want to copy 1 line. But if you want to copy 5 lines, you need to select it. Yeah. Cool. So, yeah, the second checkbox has class news or something like that. Yeah. Cool. And I hope that's pretty much it. Will this work, guys? Did I miss anything? No? Check. Let's check. Let's check if that works. I'll show you the aggressive approach I had in mind, and we'll see if it works. I cannot guarantee that. Yeah, so look, it didn't work for Pelin, even though the approach is very good. So what's wrong on Pelin? So what's missing? The class name Pelin. Yeah, class name is missing. For Luigi, oh, what happened with Luigi here? Same problem, Luigi. You see, instead of name, you're expecting here to have class name. Are you still there, Luigi? Luigi, do you see a light? Don't go to the light. Maybe he's... Oh, I'm talking, there's no one, right, on the other side of the line. So cool. It was too boring for him. Yeah, so yeah, same problem. Instead of name, it was class name. Before going any further, oh, it's back. Hey, here you go, Luigi. You saw what I was talking about. Luigi, can you hear me? Oh, actually, no, he's not hearing me. Cool, just give me a second. Yeah.
I can hear you, yeah.
You can hear me. Okay, perfect. So, yeah, correct. So, Luigi, we were actually reviewing your approach here because you were very close to get the points. The main problem was, or the only problem actually was, that name. Well, no, it wasn't the only problem. Look, you got a few problems. Instead of name, it should be class name. What else was not correct in Luigi's proposal? Correct. Instead of props.value, that should be props.term, and that should be props.news. I'm not sure about that, to be honest, if check is valid, because even though we're explicitly asked to set the value in HTML, we have checked. So maybe if you put check React under the hood, transform it to value. I'm not 100% sure about that. Before that, we were talking about a different way to solve it. We mentioned before that every React component needs a root element. You see, one div to control everything. With modern React, starting from version 16 something, there is a different way to do that. Our component can return an array of elements. Look, we can do that, I hope. We create an array, and as part of the array, we will return 2 elements. So looking after the indentation a bit, because there are 2 elements, remember to add a comma. This is a bit more advanced way. The beautifulness of that mechanism is we don't need any parent unnecessary element. That should return just 2 elements. Yeah? Let me see if that works. I mean, that's correct, but I'm not sure if the platform is ready for this sort of magic. Let's see if it any works. And until that happens, let me check another solution around. Yeah. So what else we got today? For Gawa, it didn't work. Yeah. Oh, this is a very interesting pattern that we haven't discussed yet. I don't know where I am at the moment. Yeah. So you see what Gawa is doing. It probably didn't work because of using check instead of value. Does anyone know what that means? We'll learn that next month. This pattern, which is very recent in modern JavaScript, is called object destructuring. It's the very first approach of named arguments in JavaScript. We'll learn what that means, right? So instead of using props, if props has terms and props has news, we can use curly brackets and then just refer to the variables. It's a very sexy approach. We'll talk about it in the future for sure. Look, it works actually, yeah? So this is very sexy. So just using an array, you can return multiple elements. Remember, please, to put the comma separating the elements.
So
yeah.
there is no parent.
There is no root element, correct. If you return an array. That's a new thing in React. It was very demanded by the community for long term. And now it's finally supported. What else? What else we got here? Looks like quite a lot of people had problems with this problem. So again, for Walter, the main problem was name, right? Instead of name, we should have used class name. Yeah.
How could I know that it was the class name instead?
Okay, because remember these selectors are CSS. Yeah. In CSS, whenever you have a dot, like you got here, yeah. That means whatever comes next is a class name.
So if it's a hash, so it means ID.
If it's a hash, it's an ID. Correct. 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 If there is nothing, it's an attribute. And if there is a square brackets, no, not an attribute, excuse me, a tag. Tag input, tag div, tag span, tag label, tag whatever. And if it's a square brackets, that's an attribute. We'll talk about these things when talking about specificity, which is a basic question about CSS that senior developers keep failing again and again over time. Hoping it's not your case. So, yeah, for Bilius it didn't work because he had, first of all, again, use name instead of class name. For Gawa, as we mentioned, he used checks instead of value. We review that, pretty much. All good. For Sule, what's wrong? Name. Why everyone put name here? That's weird, right? Name. Why name? All good for Wendy and all good for Vivian. I'm loving Vivian's approach. I think it's really very, very readable. You agree on that? So writing less lines doesn't necessarily prove your code is better. I read a very interesting article this week about companies trying to measure productivity by how many lines of code you write. That's completely bullshit. Yeah. Cool. Same for Nico. Perfect answer to me. And good for Lucia. A bit complicated to see the attributes, but all good apart from that. And the problem with Bucket is she put just one checkbox, right? And we were expecting two. Interesting, on the previous example, we expect one, she put two. Now we expect two, she put one, yeah? So on average, it's perfect. And and this one, again, the solution didn't work because we were expecting the class name. Cool, let's talk about the last question, the most complicated one, yeah? So let's talk about combo boxes. How time we have? Okay, 19 minutes, should be enough. So talking about combo boxes, let's read the expectation. Fruit picker, yeah? We want to be able to select across multiple pieces of fruit. And the key aspect is this component should be able to select a default fruit. Yeah, you know, in some combo boxes, sometimes you get an option set by default. Yeah, you know, when you want to travel with Ryanair, if you access from the UK the selected, where are you from? First country is UK because you are based here. That's maybe not even true. I just made it up, but just as a stupid example. Yeah. So let's talk about that. We're expecting to have how many fruits? 2, right? Apple and orange. Cool. So this is a combo box. Select. Let's talk about options. The options are literally typing option and then option. The first fruit is apple and the second fruit is orange. And then we want to have a value here which is props dot selected, and that's it. Took 17 seconds. Yeah. So obviously we can complicate combo boxes way more, but this is just beginning. Yeah. So we try to keep it easy, and I'm glad I kept it easy because you struggle a bit, some of you. So yeah, that should be pretty much it. Let me review the code to see if I miss anything. So we find the select again. Do we need? Well, you see now the select is a root element. We don't have any surrounding div, which is good because the code looks a bit nicer. And then option text to be apple. If you have played a bit with HTML, you may have seen that options sometimes have values. Yeah, technically speaking, the options should have values. But in that case, we try to keep it everything super simple. So let's ignore the values and just focus on the text. Yeah, so the thing is, if we pass a selected fruit, you see, we check that the value property of the selector should be whatever we are passing. So I'm 85% sure that will work. So let's see if that's correct or not. And meanwhile, let's have a look to your solutions. Yeah, wait. Yeah. So, yeah, for Luigi it didn't work because he tried too much, yeah? Instead of props.value, so props.value should be only applied on the select, the root level, yeah? Here, we just hard-coded orange and apple. You see it works. So that was literally it. Very, very simple, as you can see. No elegance issues. So that's literally it. What else we got today here? For Bilius, ooh, yeah, right. So this is the sort of things we try to avoid, right? We try not to return a different select depending on the value. What happens if we got 20 fruits? You imagine, right? The component will grow massively. Yeah. And for Gawa, it didn't work again because props.selected applied here. And in there it was just apple and orange, yeah? So Walter followed Bilius' approach, switch instead of if else, fair enough. But yeah, we don't want that. We want to keep it much simpler. And Davide, again the same problem, right? That's a good question. Why you put a banana? What were you thinking about, Davide? What do you... Cool. Yeah. I don't know what to say, to be honest, right? Actually, why lots of you talk about bananas today? Oh, it was in there. Oh, but that's a typo. That's wrong. Yeah. This is the sort of things that, fruit picker can select banana. That's wrong. Yeah, that's wrong. Yeah. Either that's wrong or you have a dirty mind, or both things. Yeah. Cool. Why didn't work for Sule? That's very interesting because he was very, very close. Very close. What's wrong here? Correct. Sule, Helder got it right.
But after I changed it.
No, it's selected.
After you change, oh, okay. So wait a minute. Two problems. The obvious one.
I know that because after I
Yeah, but wait a minute, Sule. Wait a minute. First one is this is wrong, right? Because JavaScript is case sensitive. Should be on the other way around, right? This is like teenager language, right? When you speak on WhatsApp. Yeah? But the second problem, which is not that obvious, and sometimes this is frustrating because you said, oh, it looks correct. It looked correct, right? From 4.5 meters distance. However, if you notice, he's using select. However, we expect to use select teth. Yeah, you see? Yeah, that was the main issue actually for Sule today. Yeah, but anyway, the idea is correct, so I'm sure next time will be okay. Again, Wendy, even though that's correct, the thing is this is ignored, right? I mean, you can add 20 fruits and...
Yeah.
What's that?
That's right.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. And then Vivian, yeah, something a bit exotic here for Vivian today. Nico, all good, another banana for Nico. And for Lucia, can anyone spot any elegance issue? Not necessarily technical elegance issue, right? But can anyone see anything we can improve a bit here?
After Apple, yeah.
Correct. After Apple, that space is unnecessary. Yeah? Subtle thing.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
When this solution,
Yeah.
the third line,
Yeah, we explained that this is pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't fail. Do you know why it didn't fail? Because the test wasn't asserting that you have to put two options. In that case, it would fail. Yeah. Cool. Nico. Yeah, we explained that already. And here, interesting, right? That's almost correct. The quotes. So Florin had the same issue in the first question. Yeah. These quotes are unnecessary. And apart from that, select needs a value. Value equals prop.selected. And for bucket, yeah, we're missing the value, yeah? So we are not binding with the selected fruit out of the box. So I think that's pretty much it, guys. We managed to complete the challenge in 47 minutes, which is a good thing, right? Because sometimes we run out of time. So yeah, I hope you learned something today, and I hope you enjoyed the experience, the very first experience. Still there are some issues. I'll fix the typos, but yeah, looking forward to do a new challenge about JavaScript on Monday. So thank you guys, see you soon.